Edgar Wright's newest film hits cinemas this weekend as the first pure horror film he has created. So, the question is this movie worth the hype, or is it another boring, mediocre horror film? Let's find out in the review. Welcome back, film fans. This is Let's Be Real, Brad. Today on the channel, we'll be talking about the brand new psychological horror film called Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright co-wrote and directed the film. The film stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, and Terrence Stamp. The film is about an aspiring fashion designer who is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, encountering a dazzling wannabe singer. But the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something darker. It is my 8th most anticipated film of 2021, which is fantastic considering that I have watched 5 of my top 10 most anticipated films in October. I ended up not watching the trailer to the film because I felt like I could miss it without getting anything spoiled for myself in film discourse about our anticipation of the film. Edgar Wright is one of my favorite directors working today. He is truly phenomenal and makes such fantastic films. With that being said, I enjoyed this film quite a bit, being another positive film in Wright's incredible filmography. With Wright being known for his fabulous and quirky comedy films, this is the first time he has made a pure psychological horror film, as he made a horror comedy film called Shaun of the Dead in 2004. So let's dive right into this one because I have so much to talk about, starting with the performances. Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy did a phenomenal job in their roles, being fantastic in every scene. They were genuinely dominant in their roles without ever missing a beat, feeling their on-screen presence. I also thought Matt Smith and Terrence Stamp were also really good in the film. Another significant aspect of this film that works so well is its horror aspect. For the most part, I found that most of the horror worked, which is impressive considering this is Wright's first pure horror film. The film is filled to the brim with very creepy and disturbing imagery throughout. Most of the horror comes from the dreamlike illusions that I found at times to be quite disturbing and twisted my stomach into a few knots. I also enjoyed that Wright decided not to rely on jump scares to make this film scary. The film also offers a very tidy and great fast pace that never leaves me feeling bored and uninterested, which is never an issue in an Edgar Wright film. This film has to offer the best things in the 1960s aesthetic, as it looks gorgeous in this film. I felt encapsulated into this world full of beautiful looks to the film. The costume design, makeup, and cinematography were fantastic, especially the Thunderball marquee poster shown in the film. It made me all giddy with a big smile on my face as a major James Bond fan. The colors are also gorgeous that were exploding off the projection screen at any chance it could. I found the directing to be fantastic as always. Edgar Wright can use his charismatic and unique style to be able to craft his beautiful shots. He did a fantastic job crafting his horror scenes, as I felt very intense and atmospheric. The editing was also fantastic, being able to blend in scenes so seamlessly from both worlds. I found the story and themes of this film to be quite strong. It is essentially a feminist film, but not one that tries to show a whole message that you agree with within your face, but the one that can explore itself and show you exactly what it wants to say. Now, I do have a couple of negatives with this film, starting with the horror aspects. As much as I enjoyed the horror in this film, I felt not all of it worked for me. It felt too over the top and PG-13-esque, especially with the more supernatural ghost elements later on in the film. These are not nearly as scary and stomach twisting as the medieval men in this film. Also thought some of the CGI looked quite mediocre to bad because of how noticeable it looked compared to the actual practical effects for the film. For the most part, the screenplay was very enjoyable with an exciting story, dialogue, and being able to add the stress and anxiety along with it. However, I did feel all the side characters had no character to them other than being a one-note personality, like being the nice guy, the jerk female group, the fundamental co-workers, etc. Most, if not all, the side characters feel like plot devices to keep the film moving forward, which wasn't very interesting. interesting. Also felt that this film became entirely predictable as the film went along. I was able to guess the major twist in this film, but didn't know its extent, which did surprise me, but I'm not sure if I'm just a person who can figure these things out, but I felt very disappointed because mainly I knew nothing about this film going into it. Overall, Last Night in Soho is a really good film with some superb performances and some enjoyable horror moments that need to be seen in the cinema if you safely can. It is hugely entertaining with an excellent soundtrack, a new fresh story, and wonderful technical aspects. Most people will enjoy this movie even if you aren't a massive fan of the horror genre. I am giving Last Night in Soho a 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for checking out this video, as I want to know below in the comments section, what is your favorite Edgar Wright film and why? But before you check out the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.